The United States government has gone surveillance crazy, from taking the weather satellites that have watched the rest of the world and are now focusing on Americans. It seems like all the surveillance being done now, from the investigations of Pentagon officials now to everyone, is under the gun, but they're not terrorists, they're just your ordinary American citizens. The latest gadgetry to be revealed recently are so-called insect-like drones. War protesters in both Washington and New York City, small groups of people, and these are again not terrorists, and the government knows they're not terrorists, they've noticed these little insect-like things flying over them. And of course the government denies that they're really surveillance cameras, but the people that have been there, eyewitnesses, have noticed they stop, they kind of focus, and they look like mechanical bugs. Come to find out, after some research, it was revealed that the government really does have a number of these kind of gadgets, from catfish, they have small birds they've designed, and they're all designed for one thing: to watch us. For a long time the government's been trying to perfect these kind of gadgets, and again, not to watch terrorists per se, they're watching American citizens. Since the 1970s, the CIA has been involved, the Department of Defense has been involved. And so now we've got one more link in this, what I would call the electronic concentration camp. One of the arguments that Americans throw up generally, ones that are not familiar with our Bill of Rights, is that, well, if you're innocent, what do you care if the government's watching you with surveillance cameras, with war satellites, with insect drones? If they're driving by filming you, if they're listening to what you have to say in your home through microphones. If you're innocent, what's wrong with that? Well, it really violates the core principle of the Bill of Rights, that you're innocent until you're proven guilty. If the government's watching you, you are a suspect. And what the Fourth Amendment requires is probable cause, which means that you have to be at least, the government has to at least believe you're up to some kind of criminal activity if they're going to be surveilling and watching you. So the greatest fear of these kind of gadgets are, I think, several concerns I have. One is they're doing it secretly, they're not telling anybody, and they're basically watching American citizens. Because, to be honest with you, we know there's not a tremendous amount of terrorists in the United States. So if you have all these gadgets, what do you watch? You watch the American people. The other thing is that we seem to be erecting, you know, and I've referred to this many times, electronic concentration camp, and there's really no escape from that. If we don't have one modicum of privacy in our lives, and if we're going to be watched totally by the government, then there is no privacy. There is no freedom in the end. And if Americans want it, they want it, but I, for one, do not want it.